What up, IDS Mob? It's your boy, dating coach HarryWilmington here, and we're back with another exciting show. On today's show, we're giving you guys a lot of game. You're going to learn about how Taylor Swift and Travis Kelce are showing the world at large a very important lesson that you should be paying attention to, even if you don't like either of the people I just talked about, okay? We're actually gonna talk about dance game and how to up your movements on the dance floor so women will be drawn to you. And then we're talking about Snapchat game, the secret to having game with women on Snapchat. All this and more on today's episode of Harry Dating Conversations. Thank you so much for tuning in today's show. And as always, this show is all about you guys. So if you ever have any questions or topics you want to see me cover on this show, write to me at HarryWilmington@gmail.com or leave a comment down below. Also, you can support the show by going to the Cash App at $HarryWilmington. Any amount that you want to show for support is greatly appreciated because I don't have sponsorships. I do all this, guys, for you. So to make that keep on going, be sure to give us some happy donations. And of course, guys, if you need help with your own personal dating life, you can go to introvertdatingsuccess.com where I have eBooks, audiobooks, programs, and coaching available, all designed to help you date as your introverted self while still getting your precious alone time. So with all that said, let's go ahead and get into the first topic. So let's talk about Taylor Swift and Travis Kelce for a second. Yeah, I know if you're a football fan, you're probably mad. If you're a Taylor Swift fan, you're probably very, very happy. But just hear me out, right? Because I think that they're giving a really big lesson right now, something that is very, very important to the world. So I'm going to read this guy's question that I saw on Reddit. He says, how do you tell if a girl is genuinely too busy to meet up or that they are just not that into you? He says, one of the things I've noticed with dating in New York City is that most people got a lot going on in their lives. The city tends to attract people who are extremely career-oriented and like to live life to the fullest, which is a good thing. But as a guy trying to date women in New York City, it becomes a struggle to tell if a girl is genuinely busy or just not that into you and one should just move on. I'm talking about girls who have agreed that they want to meet up but got a lot of stuff going on in their lives. I'm sure I can't be the only guy with this issue. So my question is, at what point do guys cut your losses and just move on? So I read that beforehand because this video is a very, very 10-second video, but it really gives off the vibe that you should be understanding about women as it pertains to when they like you. And this has to deal with this woman. This woman's commenting on the whole Taylor Swift and Travis Kelce situation. Check it out.
Just a friendly reminder that we are currently all watching two of the busiest people on the planet making time for each other.
That's it. Simple, effective, to the point. Is that think about Taylor Swift's life, right? Taylor Swift has to be one of the busiest people in the entire world right now. She's constantly recording new albums. She's re-recording old albums. She put out 2 of them this year alone, which had 20-something odd tracks on each one. On top of the fact that she had a tour this year, the Eras Tour, where she was traveling not only in this country, but now she's also traveling globally, right? In the midst of all that happening, this guy, Travis Kelce, who plays for the Kansas City Chiefs, I can't believe I know that now, God. He's been training for a football season. He's been also having to play games every week on top of working out every week for these games. He also has his own busy schedule. At some point, he said out there, hey, Taylor Swift, we should go out sometime, blah, blah, blah. And then they've been slowly getting to know each other, right? But here's the point, right? Because this is going to be a thing where people might watch this video months from now, and they could have been broken up, or it could be years from now where it's oh, they're not together anymore. Oh my God, Harry, what's going on? So whether it was this person or the guy she dated for the last 6 years prior to the breakup earlier this year, yes, I know a lot about Taylor Swift's love life. Anyway, the point is that she is a hell of a busy woman, right? And yet, in spite of her busy schedule, somehow she still manages to find time to meet up with Travis, either when there's a break in his schedule or when there's a break in her schedule. And I mean frequently, at least 2 or 3 times a month for days on end, which for people that are really, really busy is quite amazing. But this goes to the point that I've said on this show before, which is this, that when women have a high interest in you, it cuts everything, and they're going to do everything they can in their power to make time to see you. Why? Because at the point that they have high interest, you become important enough in their lives for them to want to make time to, regardless of what they have going on. Now, I stress this because some of you guys don't get it. You're buying the excuses that women are giving you when they say, oh, I want to see you, but suddenly I'm just too busy. And so I'm going to show examples of this, right? So I found these 3 Reddit posts. I'm going to read through them really quick. But the first one's from a guy that's in 11th grade. The second one's from a guy that's in his 20s. And then the third one's from a guy that's in his 30s. And across the board, they're giving they're questioning about whether or not the women that they're currently liking are actually too busy or not. So this first guy says, we're both in high school. We go to the same school. We're 11th grade. Been talking to each other for a few months, and it's great. We text almost constantly. Mistake. Have long 3+ hour late night calls. Mistake. And we Snapchat each other many times over. Mistake, which I'll get into in the Snapchat section of this show. How we started talking was that she was going through some personal things, blah, 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 blah. I've talked to her 2 times about me going for her and our feelings. Ugh, don't talk about your feelings. Both times she sent a long paragraph about how I had the characteristics of what girls wanted or what she needed and how I gave her this fuzzy feeling every time I talked to her. But that she couldn't be in a relationship right now because she was busy with sports and academics and because of past people that effed up the way she viewed dating. So in that last part, though, she gives herself away because what did she say? She said in the past, she was able to make time for dating, but other people messed it up. And so now that's one of the reasons that she can't date you. Oh, aside from also, sports and academics, even though with those last situations, I was also doing sports and academics, but I made time for them. But now I just can't do it. I just can't do it. And as a guy, you're going to fall for it because it sounds logical. Women know how to get to men's logical brains and come up with situations that they know men are going to find logical and plausible enough to believe when she's giving these bogus excuses. She said she doesn't see herself dating for quite a while. And he says, I've read the threads that are like this are typically using the guy and taking advantage, but I want to reaffirm if this is true in this specific case. I really like her, and I've already begun to accept the fact that if she doesn't see herself dating for a while, well, so when women say that, like, I can't see myself dating for a long time, what that translates to is she can't see herself dating you, but trust, if the right guy comes along that she has the hots for and thinks is a 10 out of 10 guy and makes her feel all the things, then she's going to manage to find that time. Like that soccer schedule / mathlete schedule, she's going to suddenly be able to squeeze in time. Or, because guys won't even question this, right? Like I'd be questioning, but wait, we don't have school on the weekends. Like you might have a sports thing, say, in the afternoon, because most schools aren't really doing night things like that. But like you don't have an hour out of a weekend to like meet up for a meal, come by my house and say what's up, go to the arcade or something like that. Like just no time. Like your entire time is bought up by schooling and by academics and by extracurriculars, and you have no time. You have no time at all whatsoever. You don't ever go home. You just get home and you fall asleep right on your bed. Like that's what's happening. But this is what I'm saying is that she's making the excuse now because she doesn't actually want to date him. Like, yeah, she's having a good time talking to him on the phone, texting and Snapchatting him, but none of those things are actually spending one-on-one time with him. And that's how you really judge if a woman likes you. If she's willing to set aside time to spend one-on-one time with you, like Taylor is with Kelce, then that lets you know that she has an interest. Because again, what I want you to do is this, right? For right now in this span of time that we're in, anytime a girl gives you the excuse that she is hella busy, you need to ask yourself the question, is she busier than Taylor Swift? Because if she's not busier than Taylor Swift, she can find time. Why? Because Taylor Swift, with as busy as she is, also can manage to find time for a guy she likes. So that's high school stuff, though. Let's get on to the 20s. So girl says she was too busy to hang out. I assume she was not interested, but now she is confusing me. So he goes, I, 26 male, I've only gone on 3 dates with this girl, 24 female. We've had fun, great physical chemistry, most beautiful woman I met in my life, blah, blah, blah. She just got back from vacation this week and said, quote, we need to hang out soon. So I was like, okay, cool. Are you free this weekend? And she was like, I'm super busy and my weekends are full this month and next. So I said, no worries. Let me know if things change and you want to hang out. I wouldn't have personally said that. I would have just waited a weekend and said, hey, I know you said you're busy this weekend. There's this thing that's coming up. Just wanted to make sure. Or she said she's busy on weekends. She said nothing about weekdays. So he's already going to get a false read because, and to the point, most women, when you first start dating them, they're not going to give up their weekends. They're already planning their lives with those Fridays and Saturdays. But saying during the weekday, hey, 7 o'clock, Tuesday or Thursday, let's meet up for a quick dinner, a quick bite to eat. Let's go do it for a quick walk in the park. It can all be little quick dates, but women that have high interest will say, well, I can't do weekends, but wait, he said weeknight? There's some time between Sunday and Thursday that I can put together an hour or two to see this guy. So anyway, he says, Then I deleted her number and moved on because I've been on both ends of the too busy excuse, and I realized that if you really want to see someone, you will make time. Exactly. Now, the whole thing is this, is that in this moment, I wouldn't have just outright deleted her information, because here's the thing, guy, like, let's assume she's legitimately busy, right? At any time, she could hit you up and be like, hey, plans changed. So what this guy actually did was get butthurt by the idea that she said she's busy, but there's no future context where she's gonna actually be busy, or to see what happens if he doesn't like hound her about how busy she is. She could very well be like, oh, you know what? He's not hounding me about being busy, but I kind of miss him and want to see him. You know what? I'm gonna figure out a time in my schedule. So this is one of those where I would have said, great, I wouldn't have said let me know when you're busy, because that you don't want to ever give control over to women about when they can see you or not. Like, you want to ideally keep it open where you're going to be the one that's able to contact them to ask for another date. All right. But anyway, so he did that. Then he said, then yesterday she texts me that she misses me and hopes I'm not mad about her busy schedule, and rattles off what each of her weekends look like: friend birthdays, bachelorette parties out of town, visiting family, yada, yada, yada. She says she wants to maybe get lunch next week. So now, to me, this is where it starts to be where she's throwing out positive signs, because as I've stressed before, women that like you help you. And so that means that if a woman is really busy, if she can find any time in her schedule to suggest doing a potential date, that's a positive thing. We call that, what's the word I'm looking for? We call that counter offer. If you try to suggest a date and she says, I can't do this date, but what about this? Or, hey, I have free time on this day, let's try that. That is a counter offer. Now, hers is a weak counter offer because she says maybe. And as I said before, you don't want to do maybe dates. So if she'd have said, maybe we can get together next week, I would have said, you know what? That would actually be great, but I want to make sure that I'm able to solidify my schedule too. So let's not do maybes. Let me know a definitive day where you know for sure that you will have time at a specific time to meet up for a lunch or a dinner even, and we can make that happen. But so even with this, you as the guy can't let her get you into the land of maybe. Like, don't ever let a woman put a maybe date on you, because I'm promising you, more often than not, maybe dates are gonna be no's, or they're gonna get canceled and you're gonna be frustrated. So to preemptively unfrustrate yourself, try to lock down if and when she actually has that free time, if she brings it up. So then he says, I think, okay, maybe she is actually busy and wants to see me, but I'm skeptical. She was like, I might be able to get free Sunday. And I said, yeah, I could do that probably. Then later in the day, she says she has to visit her grandma and can't hang. At this point, I'm just confused. Last night, she didn't want to hang because she had a kickball game, but sent me a "you up" text at midnight. She also texts me a lot, though she takes ages to respond. So what's the deal? Is she actually busy? Not interested, but a sociopath? I'm always fun. Every time women do things that men don't understand, men come back with, they must be a sociopath, and they must be bipolar. And I'm like, dude, just because you don't get the behavior doesn't mean that that's happening. She is socializing in the way that most women normally socialize. They speak in passive language, and they kind of say maybe to things sometimes in hoping that you're going to lock it down to a more specific time. Like, these are things that women just do, you know? He says, I'm a little too old for exhausting games like this. Again, guys always think women are playing games when they do this. She's not playing games, dude. But here's the thing, right? So let's say she's legitimately busy. I'm not in the habit of dating women that are so busy that they can never get a chance away to see me. Like, if that's a woman, if she's legitimately saying she's always busy all the time, then that's going to frustrate you. And I would say, don't do it. This could also be a woman that either has low interest or has other offers of guys that are trying to take her out. Maybe she has an ex in the picture. Maybe she met another guy on a dating app that she's trying to also see, and she just doesn't know how to tell you, hey, I'm actually seeing other guys. So like, you know, I'm trying to spread it out or whatever. But the point is that, again, if she's saying that she's always busy all the time, then this is a no-go. If she's attempting to try to make time to see you, then that's good. But if she's also then pulling away that time, that puts you in maybe land. And we know how I feel about maybe land. We don't want to live there, right? So in terms of her being like, oh, I want to see you Sunday, then it's like, oh, I want to see my grandma, I can't hang. You got to look at what are the excuses that she's giving, and are they plausible and worth not seeing you for? So going to see her grandma, it's plausible, but how often does she get a chance to see her grandma? I'm guessing probably a lot. So that could be one of those there. She's using it as an excuse to not see him. Or she's saying, I have a kickball game. So you got to ask, is a kickball game worth not seeing you? I mean, she could just be really enthused about kickball, but that's still an activity she's taking on that's now taking her away from you. Here's the thing too, is sometimes women in their single seasons, they're not aware they're going to actually ever get a guy. So they'll put their schedule and just pack it full of stuff. And then they meet a guy and now they have all these obligations. So another real question would be, okay, so let's say the kickball season runs out at some point and her family goes home and, the birthdays are over for her friends and the bachelorette parties, her friends are now married, it's all done, right? Once all that stuff goes away, will she now be free? And in the moment, you don't know that. But this is also why after only 3 dates, you're not trying to lock her down. After 3 dates, you should still be taking on other offers to see other women, because on the off chance that this woman is just hella busy and like legitimately busy, not like seeing other people busy, but like actually busy, well, you might meet a woman that has the same kind of stuff going on, but is either A, more willing to give you time of day to see her, or also isn't nearly as busy as the girl that you're talking to now, all right? You don't have to settle for a woman that is consistently busy, because if you're trying to get to actually know her and be in a relationship, then this is going to turn into a major freaking problem, okay? So all this to say, in terms of like, guys want to know, like, he wants to know, like, what's the deal? Is she actually busy? I run my life like this. All I can go on is the results that I'm getting from the woman I'm dating and how I feel about it. So I could try to be in my head all day about what's the deal? Is she really busy? Is she not? Is she seeing other guys? Does she not like me? Is she actually busy? I just look at, what's the end result? The end result is, am I able to see her as much as I want to? And if not, what do I do about it? And I'm not even a guy that's like, I got to see him every minute of the day. I tell you guys, when you first start dating a woman, once a week tops, right? So she can't carve out one time a week to see this guy. She can't carve out once every other week to see this guy. That to me, it either reeks of a woman that has low interest or has filled up her calendar to be so busy that she's now not making me a priority or getting to know me a priority. And it's not that early on she has to make me a full-on priority, but if she's looking for love, she needs to have some level of priority about getting to know another person. If she's not putting that in, that's bad. Now, also in here though, he says that she's texting a whole lot. So she's still wanting that attention, in which case, if that's gonna be going on, you gotta figure out, okay, at what point is it gonna go from us texting all the time to us actually being able to spend more time together in person? And right now, she's not giving him a time frame for that. Like she said, oh, friend's busy, bachelorette party, blah, blah, blah. So I'd ask, okay, wait, so like, when is your friend's wedding? Or like, when is the bachelorette party? When are your friends' birthdays? And, if they're happening weekend to weekend to weekend, when's the next weekend that we'll be available? Because you could say, hey, you know what? You got a lot of stuff going on. Let's look into the future. So like a month and a half from now, there's something happening on like December 10th. Are you free that day to do something? And you could ask those questions. If she starts saying, well, I'm not sure, I don't know, then you got somebody that is not really wanting to see you, but just likes the attention. And you also have a right to not stay in that situation, all right? But the point is this, again, ask yourself the question, is this woman busier than Taylor Swift? Taylor Swift, who's recording albums and touring around the world and doing press releases and doing videos, is this woman busier than Taylor Swift? Because if she's not, Taylor's seeing her guy right now 2 to 3 times a month and she's touring the world. She's in the same city and can't see him. I have issues with that. So then we go into the third example. These people are in their 30s and the post is, she's too busy to date. He says, so I've been seeing a woman on and off again since September, a total of 5 times in 5 months. That seems like a poor rate. And she always seems like she has to cancel or reschedule or check her schedule or what have you. And of the 5 times I've seen her, 1 hasn't been on a work night. When we do meet up, we get along well and have a lot to talk about, but she's an ambitious, busy, high-powered executive professional who travels a lot. I do okay for myself job-wise, but I enjoy having a stable and easier profession that comes with more me time. And the more I think about it, the more I think that we don't have much in common besides financial and emotional stability. You very well may not, both of which are important to me, but it kind of feels like it's not enough. Well, because you want to spend time with her, you want to get to know her, you want to hook up with her, you want to get to, go on actual dates with her. And these things are important when you're trying to build a relationship with somebody and when you're trying to get to know somebody. When you don't get to spend consistently good time with somebody on a more consistent basis, then yeah, it starts to feel like, what's this for? Because I'm not getting to see them and know them as much as I'd like to. He says, and the fact that she seems so busy doesn't bode well for any kind of meaningful relationship, or at least not one with me. I'm going to see her tonight, but I guess it's a Monday night date, but I'm probably going to lay this all out. I don't feel we're going anywhere, but I feel like it's a discussion to have in person. I suppose it's also worth noting that dating has been like a living nightmare for me and that I've never had any kind of relationship in my life. And part of me wonders if I'm self-sabotaging a potential relationship for fear of something actually working out somehow. That maybe I'm being a choosy beggar. Well, that could be happening. You know, our subconscious is designed to keep us comfortable with what we are used to. And so you can get to an age where if you've gone a good portion of your life without having anybody, then you're going to start to pick partners that either A, are toxic, B, don't actually like you, so they're going to push themselves away, or C, are so busy that they never get to spend time with you, and it's going to make you have to dump them in the long run. So yes, your subconscious very well could be sabotaging your ability to actually find partners and seek out people that are more readily available, because that gives you more time to be in front of them, which subconsciously gives you more time to show any kind of mistake that would cause a woman to dump you, if that makes sense. He says, but most of me realizes there's probably not much potential here. She's not a bad person and a great catch for someone, but I just don't think that's me. Does that seem rational? Am I overlooking something? I'll say this, 5 times in 5 months, that is a very poor rate. And again, I get it. You're saying, hey, she's a busy professional. I have dated busy professional women who have to travel for their job and have long hours and are oftentimes tired at the end of the day. And those women, when they saw me, they were still happy to see me, and they would still make time for me. I remember there was girls I dated where I'd be like, hey, I know you got a lot going on. So, I was dating this girl one time where she was literally flying all over the place to try to recruit people for the school that she worked at, right? And so she literally had to come into LA for all of like 6 hours and then fly right back out to someplace else. And I was just like, hey, you know, if I get a chance to see you, great, but if not, I totally understand. This chick got in LA, got off the plane, got into her car, drove to my apartment. I got in her car. We drove around for all of like 20, 25 minutes just to talk and say hi, what's up to each other. She dropped me back off my apartment, went immediately back to the airport, and flew off. So even in the midst of her busy schedule, she was like, if I can give him 20 minutes, 25 minutes, that's what I'm gonna do. I had another girl that she was coming back from Australia from a wedding, and she had a layover in LA. She had to get over back to the East Coast. And she, again, I'm like, hey, if you can't see me, because it was like a 9-hour layover. I'm like, if you can't see me, if you don't want to leave the airport, I totally get it. This chick got off the airport, came back to my place. We hung out for a little bit. I managed to get her back just in time. She didn't have to do that. But even amidst her busy schedule, she was like, I still want to see you. So this begs the question, if you are dating somebody who is only seeing you 5 times in 5 months, is that a higher or lower number than the amount of times that Taylor Swift has met up with Travis Kelce in the times they've been dating? She's come to his games in the midst of her concert. She's flown him out, or he's flown out to see her in the midst of her tour. Like, these people actually have empires, have millions, if not billions of dollars in the bank, are still running around making deals all the time, and yet somehow, because they like each other, they're able to make time. Is the girl that you're trying to chase making time for you, or is she giving the excuse that she's hella busy? I can assure you guys, women that like you, even if they're busy, are gonna find time to see you. If they're not doing that, they either have low interest or they've made their job life or the busy life their priority, in which case you don't wanna date them anyway, because them not putting dating and getting into a relationship on their priority schedule does not bode well for the future of what you're trying to build with the person. It's just the way it is, guys. So that's all I can say on that particular subject, is that look into the fact that women are gonna say they're busy, but they manage to find time to see the guys that they really, really like. If you don't believe me, look at Taylor Swift, and that's all you need to know. So I saw a post on Reddit recently where this guy gave out 3 really great tips that I believe can be helpful if you're a guy that maybe doesn't have a big social circle or has had a hard time going out there and getting women. One of which, at the very end, I very much want to go into because it helped me immensely in terms of getting women to approach me out there when I'm out at clubs and stuff like that. And this guy, by the way, he's autistic, but this is not an autistic specific post, because I think these are tips that could actually work for any guy that may be struggling initially. So here are the 3 tips that he gives. The first one, he says, you need to get a decent circle of friends. He says, you know what I call a night out when I go home alone? Effing sick night out. Enjoying in real life social time with friends should just be a standard part of your life. They give you social proof, they pick you up when you're feeling low, and they loan you a few bucks when you're caught short. 10-10, no notes. So I would highly recommend that for any guy, is that part of the reason you're having trouble is because you're not getting yourself out there and meeting people. And if you're able to get together a circle of friends that you get really, really close to, then they can become your key guys that you can go out with when you do stuff. And also, they're the ones that'll hype you up and say, hey man, you can do that, or go ahead and talk to this girl, we got your back. And it'll just make you feel better all around, because if you're just by yourself and you're talking to like nobody whatsoever, you already feel like a lame-o for not being able to get girls to come around you. But now, like, no dudes, no close friends either. Like, we want to start getting you into a space where you have better self-esteem. And that starts with you being able to actually go out there and just meet people to be friends with, you know? So whether you're in school, whether you got a job, whatever, you need to put yourself into situations where you can meet people that you can connect with and then get really close to by spending time with them just on a friendship level. I'm talking guys specifically. You can try to get women friends, but realistically, if that happens, you're probably trying to date them. So really try to go out there and get guy friends. And I know as a guy, it can be very tough to motivate yourself to want to do that, especially if you're in a situation where maybe you grew up around a lot of women or most of your friends are women. The idea of trying to become friends with guys, it can seem very jarring and unnerving at times, but that's the circle you want to have, because when you try to go out there then to talk to women, you'll have people to bounce ideas off of, or you can come back to them and say, hey, I tried this situation with a girl, but it didn't go right. Could you give me some pointers, all right? So collect that friend circle. Secondly, he says, go out to where people socialize with your group of friends. A lot. It took me like 3 years of straight partying most nights of the week before I lost my virginity. But I could have lost it way sooner if I didn't do everything possible to ignore the very obvious fact that a girl was into me. Autism. But eventually, I just went out so much that eventually a girl was direct enough to literally say, would you like to hook up with me now? If you go out enough, hooking up will just happen at you at some point. Even if I'm wrong, worst case scenario, you spend loads of sick time with your friends. So yeah, when you're with your friends, you want to make sure that, you know, if they're going to a party, you go to the party. I was fortunate when I moved to California that I had a college friend that we ended up living in the same apartment together, and he happened to be messing with a group of people that were going out and filming stuff all the time and doing stuff in Hollywood. And because we had a really big apartment at the time, people would come back to, like, he would bring people back to our place to have these like massive apartment parties. And this went on for like a good year and a half. So during that year and a half time, I was able to have people regularly coming to me, which is great, because as an introvert, me trying to get out, it wasn't always the thing I wanted to do. But people come into my place, I'm like, I'm already here at home. If I have a bad time, I can just go to my room. Fantastic. But that did bring along with it a bevy of women every single weekend into my apartment, to where at some point I was able to start flirting with some of them, connecting with some of them, and doing other things with some of them. But that's because at that point they were running into my space. And so you might not be a guy that has, parties at your apartment every single weekend, but you may have friends that are like, hey, I want to go out and do this. We're going to go to this club. We're going to this girl's house for a birthday party. Come to my family's place for the holidays. And you may be feeling like you want to turn some of that stuff down, especially if you're an introvert, but no, accept some of those offers, because as you put yourself out there more, you're going to start either A, having more and more opportunities to meet new women, or more importantly, if you run in the similar circles as the guys that you're with, they start bringing the same kind of girls around. After that third or fourth time, you're going to start seeing some of the girls that are the same, and they can start thinking, hey, who's this guy? Like, I want to talk to him more. Hey, what's going on with him? And they start getting a vibe with you. And then they'll show up at some place where like the only guy that they really know is you. And because you're already connected with them, you're able to now connect with them on a whole deeper level than the other guys that are new stimuli to her at these other events and stuff like that, And so, yeah, you put yourself out there enough. I promise you guys, especially you guys that are trying to like actively lose your virginity or don't get a lot of hookups, if you were just repetitively going out on a consistent basis, eventually, like this guy said, you're going to run into it. And this doesn't mean you have to party every single weekend. You may be a guy that only likes to go to like lounges or go to house parties or whatever, and you do it like maybe once or twice a month. Fine. Join classes or networking groups, or get into hobbies that have other people there, like your kickballs or your various sports and stuff that are just kind of like, not really like serious leagues, but just like things people are doing just to gather and have a good time. But yeah, put yourself out there enough in front of enough women, because a lot of you guys are having trouble simply because you're not putting yourself in front of enough women or giving yourself enough opportunities to allow that to happen. As you do that, by default, you're going to meet more women. And by default, inevitably, some of them might start to feel things for you if you spend enough time talking to them in those spaces, And then the third one, and this is one that you guys all need to do, especially if you have trouble at clubs, because this is how I squashed having issues at clubs. And he says, learn to dance. how introverted/autistic are you? I was so introverted and autistic that I chose to go onto a nightclub dance floor having never danced a step in my life. And I just start moving because it was too loud to talk to my friends. And LOL, if you thought I could talk to women, I'd rather learn to dance in public by myself than try and talk to people. To say I got laid being able to dance is an understatement. I'd say it was a cheat code, but then I forgot anything requiring hundreds of hours of practice isn't exactly a cheat. But dang it, that return on investment. Now, here's how I came about this. So in my middle school days, aside from being introverted, I was very shy. It was hard for me to just go up to people and introduce myself. But what would happen is once a month, there'd be a weekend or like a Friday or Saturday out of the month where we'd have a school dance, you know? Now, I grew up on Michael Jackson and MC Hammer and a bunch of other various dancers, and I would be at home as my little 10-year-old, 11-year-old self, like learning the dance moves. I learned how to moonwalk as a kid. I learned how to do all these other various dances because I just like the thrill of dancing. I like music a whole lot, right? So when I get to middle school and these dances are happening, I'm at the dances, and again, I'm not approaching anybody because I'm like, if I don't know you during the school hours, I don't assume you want to talk to me outside of school hours, right? But we're at a school dance, and the first time I went, the music was playing, and I'm looking around at everybody, and everybody in the room was shy because it's middle school, we're all like nervous as heck, and everybody's like, I don't want to make a fool of myself, blah, 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 blah. Now, the advantage of being introverted is that I do not care. I'm going to do the thing I want to do, when I want to do it, whether people like it or not. I have no shame. If somebody wants to make fun of me, well, I was already getting bullied in 6th grade. So at that point, if anybody made fun of me, it would just be an add-on, but it wasn't gonna like change what I wanted to do, which was get my boogie on. So the music came on, everybody's standing around just kind of to themselves, and I just start dancing. Like I'm like doing all the moves I know how to do. Like it's, you know what? I'm just gonna show you an example of the kind of dancing that I'm talking about.
I get the money, yeah, that's great. I get the honeys, yeah, that's great. I get the power, yeah, that's great. Why you looking sour, yeah, that's great. I pull up in the Benz, yeah, that's great. I be stacking the ends, yeah, that's great. Got my drip in the club, yeah, that's great. Ladies showing me love, yeah, that's great. They know I'm a star, yeah, that's great. Got your girl on my car, yeah, that's great. Got her up on the window while I'm banging the walls, yeah, that's great. I pull up in your town, yeah, that's great. I'm the hottest around, yeah, that's great. And I got a high SMV, I be shutting it down, yeah, that's great. Stop the cap.
Pretty good, right? So yeah, so I would do those kind of moves on the dance floor at my school, and next thing I know, I got crowds around me watching me as I'm doing all these moves here and there, and then next thing I know, the girls, keep on, I'm in 6th grade, right? We're all shy and nervous. The girls start coming up to me and now are trying to dance with me. And I always had a problem just in general in middle school and high school with the idea that like, as a guy, in order to dance, I'm supposed to go up to a girl and basically start humping her back as a means of dancing. I was always like, but consent. What if they don't want me to do that? I'm gonna walk behind some random girl and just start humping her and she's gonna be cool with that? Like I was very weirded out by that prospect, right? But I found that by knowing how to be a good solo dancer, the women would come up to me, grab my hand, turn themselves around, and start freaking me without me having to approach them at all. So it behooves you guys to learn how to dance for no other reason than that you will be seen as the guy in these clubs that is brave enough to put himself out there on the dance floor and risk potentially being embarrassed to be able to show off that he's having a good time. And most women, they're not gonna judge you on whether or not you actually have good dance moves. They're judging you based on this guy is ambitious and he has, he's not embarrassed about himself and he's just willing to just go out there and put it on the dance floor. And that guy seems like a lot of fun versus these other dudes that, yeah, they're standing around trying to look cool and be all suave and stuff, but in the long run, women want guys that they can have a good time with. And so, and also of note, you know, this whole thing called peacocking, like in the animal kingdom, how animals will do certain movements to, you know, attract the female mate. Well, dancing is your way to do that. If you know how to do some legitimate dance moves, women will equate that with, if he knows how to move on the dance floor, he probably knows how to move in the bedroom, and I want to find out both. So it behooves you at any age to learn how to dance. Some of you guys are like, but I don't have rhythm. Rhythm is a thing that can be learned. Learn drum patterns, learn how to move on beat. Watch old they're all old now, but watch old Michael Jackson videos, watch old MC Hammer videos, study Chris Brown, like study these guys that have these moves and then learn like one or two of them. You know what actually helped? This is really weird, right? A few years ago, there was a game that came out called the Michael Jackson Experience for like the Wii and the PlayStation, where basically, I guess his estate put out this game where like you could dance the moves of Michael Jackson. And so in the game, he's showing you the moves, and then you got to do the moves to the beat as the screen reads it and stuff, right? Well, I found that like doing those moves in the game, like reinvigorated all the moves I knew how to do. And I started doing those moves at dance clubs, and people were like, oh my God, that's crazy. Now, obviously, Michael's a little older. For you newer generation people, I'm sure there's new people that are dancing. But the point is, whatever generation you're in, learn some dance moves from these well-respected, highly regarded dance artists, your Ushers, your Chris Browns, your Michael Jacksons, your Hammers, all these other people, and then go to the dance floor, combine it all together, and just look like you're having a good, fun time. If nothing else, you can try to learn some really old school moves, because people are always like, oh, they're doing the Cabbage Patch, oh, they're doing the Running Man. Like, these are like really old moves. But the point is, it's not about you having to be the best dancer in the world. It's about, are you looking like you're having fun? And are these women able to get a read that you're going to be that vibrant guy that she should get with? So yeah, and also, like I said, more importantly though, women will approach you. If you know how to dance well, women are definitely going to try to approach you in these clubs to try to get with you, to feel you up. And then after that, you can then kind of take a break. You can walk over and talk to them. I've had situations where like I was dancing by myself in the club, and then some girl comes up to me and we start dancing, and next thing I know, we're making out on the dance floor. Like, that kind of stuff can happen if you know how to dance. So yeah, these 3 tips again: get a decent circle of friends, definitely make sure to go places where your friends are going to socialize, whether it's parties, networking events, etc., classes, hobbies, things. And then also definitely, guys, if you want to make sure that women are going to be coming to you, then definitely learn how to dance. Because as I always say, if she's chasing you, she can't be replacing you. And if you learn how to dance, trust me, women will definitely be chasing you for a good time. And obviously, guys, in addition to learning how to dance, you want to learn how to communicate, because when those women come up to you, what are you going to do next? What are you going to say? How are you going to act with them? How are you going to make them laugh? How are you going to get their numbers so you can contact them later? These are all very important steps. And then there's more steps beyond that in terms of how to go from just meeting her in a club or at a party or whatever to getting into a relationship. And I have done the work for that before. So if you want to learn how to do all that, I recommend checking out my Introvert Dating Success Academy. It is a 12-step video series that takes you from meeting a woman to taking her on a date to hooking up with her, all the way to getting to a relationship in the span of just 3 short months. If that's something that you've been struggling with and you want to learn how to do that, then go to the website, check out the program, and if you like what it has to offer, then be sure to join into it today. So now let's talk about the secret to having good Snapchat game. So first, I'm gonna read a message from a guy that's having a situation involving a girl he met and trying to Snapchat her, right? So he says, me and a buddy went out the other night, met some random hotties. I met this one girl who told me I was cute, got her Snapchat. She talked about meeting up this Friday. She's 21. So I'm new to meeting girls at bars. I sent her a few snaps and a few texts. She responded initially, then didn't open up the follow-ups. Wasn't anything crazy I said, not overly thirsty. So my buddy takes my phone, deletes the 3 texts on Snap that hadn't been opened, and said it was a play. Later on, she opened them up. He sent her a snap asking about coming out off of my phone. She responded with the snap saying, let's do it this weekend. So his friend is sending the snaps back that he should have sent in order to try to get this girl to be interested, right? So then he sent something else, and then I sent a pic later on just with the text saying that it was lame at the bar without her there. Opened, but no response. This guy has clearly not learned that he's trying to suck up to her by saying, oh, the bar's so lonely so lame without you here. Like, he's thinking women want to hear that early on, and that's not really what's happening. What he's actually doing is telling her, oh my God, my life was so boring without you in it, and he just met her. So that's gonna naturally make women give pause and turn her off. But anyway, he says, so I guess what I'm asking is what my play is. Do I try to snap or text her? Just leave it be till tomorrow and ask about meeting up again? My buddy's been coaching me because I'm terrible at this. I had a toxic ex, blah, blah, blah. I don't want to mess this up. She was a cool girl, and it was nice to have a cool girl paying attention to me after everything that's happened with my ex. Sorry for the long-winded stuff. Any advice, we appreciate it. So this guy is basically wondering, what is he doing wrong? Now, as we see, what is it that his buddy did that was different from what he tried to do? Well, even though she had already suggested at the bar that they could meet up this weekend, what the friend did was get to the point. He said, He deleted the text that the guy sent and then just said, hey, you should come off your phone. We should meet this weekend. At which point she immediately responded, hey, we'll do something this weekend. So at this point, dude should have been like, that's great. What time's the best meetup? He should already have a place in mind. Guys, secret to dating, you should already have places in mind where you can take new women. If you don't, you're messing up. And you're thinking, but I gotta make sure that the place caters to her. No, you don't. Make it like either a restaurant, a park, some kind of arcade. Like those 3 places alone, you can take any woman to, she's probably gonna have a good time, all right? So, but if you don't have anything set in stone, you're always gonna be like, we should just meet up whenever, do whatever you wanna do. You're trying to show yourself as a leader, so already have things in mind to take her to. But anyway, so instead of responding with that, he responds with, it's lame without the bar. It's lame at the bar here without you. And so what his friend did was be direct in what he wanted to get out of the girl. I want to set up a date. And where this guy messed up is he's trying to build rapport and also display things that are like feelings without having yet taken her out on a date, which I've expressed before. Women do not need you to do that. You don't need to be overcomplimenting a woman or saying how much she brings to your life after only one meetup. That should not be a thing. But in terms of Snapchat, what is the actual Snapchat strategy that you should be using when you're trying to get girls interested in you? Here's the secret. Are you ready for it, guys? Take a listen. Here we go. Get the freak off Snapchat. Yes. Get off Snapchat, get off Instagram, get off any kind of social media, or even if you don't get off of it, do not connect new women with your social media platforms. It is killing your game. Because here's the thing, guy, she does not know you yet enough to actually feel completely comfortable talking to you on these platforms, all right? And you're thinking, but Harry, blah, 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 blah. Dude, at the end of the day, I've had the most success dating women by getting their numbers and then hitting them up by phone calls and by texting. Now, you're probably thinking to yourself, okay, Harry, but you're 41. Like, you're old, texting, your generation doesn't text, but our generation is all about texting, it's all about Snapchatting, it's all about Instagramming, and if I don't do it, how will she build interest? So what I'm gonna do instead is play a clip from a younger guy who I believe is like 19 or 20, talking about this very same subject.
I'm talking to this girl on Snap, and I want to keep the phone for dates, but it's Snap, she's sending me a Snap, and I don't want to seem like I'm ignoring her. What do I do? Well, it's not the fact that you're ignoring her on purpose. If you are busy and you're focused on your mission and purpose in life, you're not gonna have time to be responding to Snaps. And the thing is, you can't openly say, oh, I'm a busy man, I have things to do. Okay, that's gonna sound like you're being very cocky about being busy. It's something that you want to just show that when you're with her, you're not always on your phone, or when you are actually spending your free time, you're not sitting there snapping girls, texting girls, you're actually working on your business. So when you actually do have time to text a girl, it's out of genuine desire for that girl.
And so I want to stop here and he's absolutely right, is that for one, across the board, no matter what age you're at, you should be working on other things besides women. Because it's interesting that when you're focusing on your goals, women just naturally come to you. Because here's the thing, women are looking at you and seeing what you're working on. And they're gonna see you working on goals that are gonna get you to the next level. Most women wanna date guys that are on next levels. And so just seeing the ambition of you trying to achieve a goal of some kind that you are really passionate about, she's gonna equate that passion with how passionate you're gonna be about your commitment to her at some point, which is going to turn her on. So she can't get that feeling from you if you're constantly on your phone, if you're always on the Snap, if you're always able to hit up a girl, because that's weak energy. And of the two of you, her having an image of you sitting by the phone, idly waiting for her to text you back, it doesn't give off a masculine presence to her. It gives off a feminine presence. And women that want masculine men aren't gonna be appreciative of that, all right? So, and for some of you guys, you're thinking, but I'm not really that busy. I don't have a lot going on. Well, for one, the girl doesn't know that. But also, if you feel like doing that's gonna cause you to feel like you're lying to them, then you need to actually get busy. Like, you need to start filling up your calendar with things to do, goals to achieve. There's always ways you could be better. So it could be learning a new language. It could be learning how to do certain skills off YouTube. Like, YouTube is a great university to learn a bunch of stuff, whether it's how to get better at dating, or how to build something, or how to create a new hobby, how to start streaming. Like, there's a plethora of things you can learn. But the point is that you should always be focusing on the next thing. Now, in the midst of that, you will also find you will meet women. You'll meet women out there that are trying to do things similar to you, and now you have a common interest that you guys can both talk about and build a rapport and build a genuine connection versus like you being on the phone all the time and trying to build connections digitally, because women are going to be more attracted to you when you're trying to actually build a connection with them in person versus on the phone, as this young guy is saying.
And so she's gonna realize that when you are actually talking to her, you're actually only doing it when you are selecting times out of your schedule to make yourself available for her, right? And she's gonna value that much more.
Yeah, women are gonna value a lot more that you're seeming to take time out of your day, of your busy ass day, to make a small amount of time for her than you will when you're always readily available, all right? It's so true, guys. The more scarce you can make yourself, the more women are gonna be like, oh, where'd so-and-so go? Oh my God, I haven't heard from him in forever. I really wanna talk to them. They'll start building up anticipation to hear from you, which is always a good thing.
Same thing she should be doing for you. She should understand if you're such a busy person and you gotta take a very small amount of time out of your schedule because you're a very busy person, and you should be if you're working or you're working on your mission and purpose. Too many guys nowadays, they don't have mission purpose, they don't know what they're doing, and they don't have any work, they're not making any money. These guys are sitting on their phone, watching video games, playing video games, off to porn all day, and they're just wasting their fucking time.
Yeah, real talk, guys. Like, for you guys that are on your phone constantly, you need to think about the fact that when you're on your phone, you're probably playing video games, you're probably like surfing TikTok and all these other things, and that is a waste of your time, because that is time you could be out in the real world meeting real women instead of watching commentary. Now, obviously, as a person that makes videos, it's kind of like odd that I'm gonna be saying like, get off your phone, get off all the videos. I'm saying there's a time and place for that, but too many people today are spending like hours on end on their phone, which is causing them to not pick up the skill set of actually talking to women, of actually having tangible meetups with them where they can learn the ins and outs of what's gonna actually work versus what's theoretical.
And in all reality, if a girl is snapping you, you don't have to respond to that shit. I honestly suggest you just fucking delete Snapchat. I don't even use Snapchat anymore. Like, that shit is retarded. Like, why the fuck do you have Snapchat anymore? Like, once you mature and you actually start to realize, okay, there's a reason why the phone number is much more superior than fucking Snapchat, because so many guys find it much easier to send a Snapchat than to actually get the girl's number, or even to get the girl's Instagram rather than number. That's why I always say, get the fucking number.
That's what I'm saying, guys. Like, women are looking at you getting the Instagram and the Snapchat as low level, and it's indicating that you're not as brave or as confident in your ability to attract her, because here's what it is, right? Being able to get the number is top tier. That's like saying to a girl, hey, I'm fully confident, and in fact, I need your number because I'm going to call you, I'm going to text you to ask for a date. Snapchat and Instagram, getting that says, I'm not completely confident that you're gonna wanna give me your actual number because you could be thinking I'm a creepy weirdo guy. So I'm gonna low level it and just ask for the Instagram and hope I can do the same thing with Instagram and Snapchat that I'm gonna do if I got your number, which is to text you and call and all that other stuff. So, but it looks like lower level by default. So you look more brave and bold when you're asking for the number. And then once you have the number, the phone should only be used to set up dates. I know some of you guys, especially some of you younger guys, are thinking like, but no, I gotta text her all the time. And as I've done on Show After Show, I have shown examples of women themselves saying that when these guys are texting me all the time, I get turned off, I get the ick. I'm wondering, why is he not just asking me for the date because I gave him the number to get the date? Like, women are giving you their number to get the date, not to become your digital pen pal. So you do a disservice to her, and by default, her feelings or possibly budding interest in you by going for these lower level tiers and then trying to snap and Instagram all the time versus just asking for the freaking date. Now, if you're worried about the fact that maybe you don't have the right social skills, or you're nervous about what you're gonna do on the date that's gonna mess it up, you're now just trying to delay time by thinking, if I get to text her and Snapchat her long enough, then I'll be able to feel comfortable enough to actually take her out in real world. Dude, you gotta get off the pot. You gotta learn the skills today that are gonna help you feel less anxious on dates, more confident, more bold, more daring, and you're gonna have the knowledge of how to actually attract these women when you get them in person. If you're nervous about that, I feel sorry for you, but I'd love to help you with that. You can go to introvertdatingsuccess.com, sign up for coaching, or sign up for any one of my programs that will help you ease the nervousness and anxiousness that comes with having to actually meet up with women in person. But you gotta get that handled, whether it's for my stuff or somebody else's stuff, because if you don't, you're gonna end up a bunch of women's texting pals and never get a girlfriend. And if you're trying to hook up at some point, get a family at some point, get married at some point, then you gotta really figure out this right now while you have the chance to do it. Well, that's all I got today, guys. Thanks for tuning into this episode of Harry Dating Conversations. If you like what you're watching and you want to show your support, you can either go to my Cash app at Harry Wilmington, you can leave a super chat right here on YouTube, or you can go to my website. If you need your own personalized help, sign up for one-on-one coaching. We got ebooks, audiobooks, programs, and music albums that are all very entertaining and designed to help you date as your introverted self while still getting your precious alone time. If you have a topic you want to see me cover on one of these shows, leave it down in the comments below or write to me at harrywilmington@gmail.com. Thanks for watching, and I'll catch you guys on the next one. I'm out. Peace.